for a sample of his blood. The tiefling seems reticent at first, but Abrashmina volunteers to provide Declan a bit of her own blood to put him at ease. Declan heads back to the Mirage to work on his samples, while Bryn and Makud take Holly and Kaya to the Shell Fadi. Left alone, Abrashmina says that she will go to the library for a bit of research on the goddess Bale, and Eli offers to accompany her. And she manages to find quite a bit of new information, of which I have pasted into the doc if anyone is interested in finding and hearing what the DM said verbatim. But too long didn't read, bruh. Cliff Notes version. The Veil is a lawful good deity, goddess of the purity of thought, and who champions self-control, calmness, quiet reflection, and forgiveness in the face of darkness. So seems like a good landing zone for people who have been traumatized or brainwashed by a cult. On his way back to the Mirage, Declan overhears a drug deal in process. The dealer mentions that he can get a hold of some Aldoc leaves, and that piques Declan's interest. Declan dons his mask and confronts the dealer, terrorizing him into agreeing to work for him. He instructs the dealer, Fahar, to find the source of the Aldoc leaves and offers him 100 gold in exchange for the information, and tells him to meet him back in the alley that they met in, and if he isn't there, to leave a message in a stone box that he shapes out of the wall that is completely hidden from view. At the Shell Fadi, Ube offers Ubba offers to board Holly and Kaya free of charge. Bryn tries to insist on paying, but the larger Callan is having none of it. Bryn offers Holly 500 gold to get her and Kaya sorted with clothing and instruments to play, and they sit back for a bit to drink and relax. Kaya is smiling and laughing at Makud's stories when Bryn hears a whisper in her mind. An entity that calls herself Shay introduces herself to Bryn. The bard is understandably distrustful at first, but the voice gives another vision similar to the one that she saw while under the effects of the sand smoke. She goes on to explain that the connection she has to other people's minds is because of their connection. Bryn expects some kind of trick or payment as she is suddenly expected to pay, but the entity just seems like all it wanted was to be able to talk to her. Shay claims that she would be the voice of influence trying to guide her to do the right thing, but Bryn seems to want to convince herself that Shay is in fact where her darker impulses come from. Back at the Mirage, Declan checks in with his sister, who reaffirms her desire to stay in a shower with Declan, even going so far as to ask him to teach her how to fight. Eli and Abrashmina return, to the great relief of Eli, who did not appear to have enjoyed his visit to the library despite the company. He and Abrashmina drink and chat while waiting for the others to return. Once Bryn and Makud return, Abrashmina shares what she has learned about Vale with the others. Bryn approaches Madar and offers to help the former apostle regain some of her memory. They go up into her room, and Bryn manages to bring up the memories of Madar walking through a forest with her family in Shalkun. They call out to her by her real name, Ashu. The scene then fades into her journey to Dithoin and meeting the preacher. Madar thanks Bryn, but still doesn't feel like a shoe fits her anymore. The two share a moment, but eventually make their way downstairs to the party once more. After a brief round of mind wine for some, the virtues sit around and discuss their strategies for the upcoming days. The journey into the desert will take months, and the mountains being south about a month, and the Monk of the Waste is a shorter trip to the west of about 3 weeks, but they're almost in opposite directions to each other. It is a big journey and not one that they should undertake until things are settled more. To that end, Declan mentions his desires to build up a network to help with their efforts of cleaning up Bashar. Their fight with Kindlarden and his pot hydra is maybe only about a week or so away, so they should make arrangements with Shalab Ajana about having it in the Vakar. Abrashmina also brings up the list that the Rakshasa had kept of the elves and mentioned that Sharat knew Edele, and that was who was on the list, which causes Makud to jump up in a fury, and Makud rushes to confront Sharat at the butcher's shop, demanding to know why he hadn't told the Minotaur about Adelaide and Abella. The human says that he did not know that Makud knew them and tells Makud that he had been trying to find Abella for Adelaide for quite some time now. Makud tells everyone that Adelaide, Abella, and himself had been trying to get out of the city, but they were betrayed by another moon elf by the name of Turian. Makud tells Sharat to tell Adelaide that Makud lives, Makud is great, and that Sharat will find Abella. And that is where we left off.
I would say caught rather than betrayed, but apart from that, good.
Okay.
Good recap.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I think that's the first
Cool.
time you haven't had an addition for my recap, Dan. In quite some time.
Very nice.
I'm sure I could find something.
I'm sure you could too.
So, Makud storms out of the butcher shop, and you all stand there for a moment before doing whatever it is you're going to do. Follow Makud, talk to Sharat. The floor is yours.
Pretty late, right?
Yeah.
I think Declan was just going to say, forgive us for disturbing your rest, Sharat. I'll be by in the morning. There's much for us to speak of.
Of course.
And then I'll follow Makud out.
Bryn, Abrishmina?
I mean, it's pretty late, and Bryn's pretty much been drinking all day, so she's probably just gonna head back.
Yes, Abrashmina will head back to the Mirage with the others.
Very well. So the four of you make your way home. What's Makud like on the walk home?
I was going to say, I think Makud isn't taking a direct route home. He's just going to, wander around with his thoughts and, look for Abella in about the least effective way possible, which is just to walk up and down the streets a bit.
Does he look like he wants to be alone, or...?
He's not that talkative, but, I just imagine he is ahead, and then you just see him turn a corner that isn't towards the Mirage, and he's just gonna wander the streets.
Declan will follow, but keep his distance. Just make sure Makud doesn't get into any trouble, basically.
All right.
Was there any of Makud's backstory that Abrashmina might have been aware of with her dealings with him in the car, or is this kind of new information for Abrashmina?
The only piece of kind of common knowledge would be that he used to be a guard at the palace.
Okay.
Slave guard, so. But apart from that, no specifics.
Okay.
Are you two following, heading back to the Mirage on your own?
Bryn seems a bit inebriated, so I think I will escort my Callan friends. I will escort my Callan friends back to the Mirage to make sure that she is all right.
Oh, thanks.
I do not think allowing her, I use that word loosely, her to wander the streets after Makud is the best of ideas at this moment. So yeah, Abrashmina will maybe have an arm around Bryn's shoulder, trying to keep her upright as we return to the Mirage.
Yeah. You make it back to find the place mostly empty now. Eli is lying in a booth, as he seems to do quite often. There's a couple of stragglers, but Smear is kind of chivying them out as the night comes to an end. The sort of music has stopped, and the bar is being closed, and it's past last call.
Can you make it up the stairs on your own?
I should be able to. If not, I'll sleep on the stairs tonight.
Well, you have a perfectly good bed upstairs, but...
I think I can make it.
All right. Abrashmina will let her go. and then she's going to go over to the squatter in our booth.
Mm-hmm. He
And-
is, he's lying back, kind of awkwardly because of his horn, so his head is kind of to the side. And he's like clutching an empty glass to his chest. And as you approach, he just kind of like sits up and blinks slowly. Oh, Brishmina, it is good to see you.
It is a bit late. Do you not wish to go home and sleep?
I mean, if I went home, I would just probably be in the booth there as well, so this place is as good as any.
So you just invited yourself to our booth, eh?
Well, no one else was using it.
I have a feeling that we should maybe charge you for this privilege. She says kind of jokingly.
Well, I haven't got any money. He grins. Kind of like twisting himself in his chair and trying to take a sip out of his empty glass.
So you've just been availing to yourselves to our hospitality the entire evening then?
Well, your bartender was certainly generous.
Do you do you desire an escort home?
That seems so far.
And surely the bed would be more comfortable than the booth, eh?
Depends on the bed.
Is your the quarters at the butcher shop inadequate?
Sort of like chuckles and shakes his head, like kind of glancing at the bar. He's fine.
Hmm.
Kind of fixes you with like a long stare. An appraising look, some might say.
Is he
May
just
I
like
help you?
playing with his chest hair
Yeah.
effectively?
Do you require anything, Eli?
Well, if you are very much against me sleeping here, you can kick me out. I'll make it home somehow. But that wouldn't be very nice.
And possibly irresponsible considering your state.
Well, I can handle my liquor core just fine, thank you. But it'll, well, I might wake up in the street. We'll see.
Sorry, I don't know that.
What the fuck? She's following me. I'm not even in my own house.
Yes, well, it would be irresponsible to make you journey home, and these booths are not very comfortable. Perhaps you'll be more comfortable upstairs.
So much beating around the bush.
Totes. And Abrashmina will like hold out her hand.
He'll give a sort of like very unmanly giggle and like take your hand, let you lead him up the stairs wherever you go.
Yes, Abrashmina will take her to her room.
Oh.
Ew.
Because I assume that he would have no objection.
No. Not at all.
The shut-in's getting some fun.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And as you're going up the stairs, he'll just say, "Are you taking me to the spare room?"
I could. Unless there is somewhere else that you would rather be.
I think you know where I'd rather be.
Perhaps you should say it.
He kind of like stretches out, like taking his time, and he says, "You know,
As we gingerly tiptoe past Bryn.
yeah, like stepping
crawling
over
like there.
Bryn and the puddle of vomit on the stairs or whatever." And he says, "You know, it is so hot here, but the nights do get cold. Maybe we should share your bed?"
TK.
Oh my god. But yeah, she'll just kind of like give him a sidelong glance and say, suppose it would save on having to clean the sheets in 2 rooms.
Like eyes go slightly wide, and he just blinks and like lets himself be led on.
Yeah, that was just like the worst line ever.
Yeah.
I apologize
It's
to
like-
everyone.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
She said that. Okay. Well,
Well, you know, because it's a tavern and we're gonna have to clean the sheets if you like use
Yep,
the guest room.
that's
Yep.
Yeah.
She's
that's
got
definitely
Yep.
that's definitely the meaning he construed.
Yeah,
Hmm.
sure. Yeah.
And then fade to black.
My headcanon is halfway through. There is a Mina, I have something to tell you, and then he's like, oh, okay. Turn around. Back again.
They just like pause
I mean,
halfway
if
through
he
to
had-
move through into the guest room, so they actually do dirty the other sheets.
Let's go do it on Declan's bed.
He's never there anyway. Oh.
Just go down into the basement. And the spiders just like staring at them.
Mhm.
It's like, oh shit, I forgot Ethan was in his room.
Yep.
And just
She's polite though. She'll leave.
Jari like leaning out of the room, and then like below him, all the 6 wyvern heads lean out as well.
And then he like covers their eyes.
So while the
you-
residents of the Mirage don't get any sleep,
She's the cleric of He Who Watches Not. Hey, everybody, come watch. It's a different
He's a
person.
voyeur. It's in the title. Like,
I wonder how, not to get too weird about it, but if you are the Deva, can you like turn it off, or do you just like have to like go
Oh,
and
man.
stand in the corner and like put earplugs in?
Just wait on the roof.
Yeah, just like Jesus Christ.
I suppose it's up for you to decide, my dude. That is not my problem.
Well, I guess we'll see in your next conversation. But yeah, speaking of not sleeping, Makood and Declan. Does Makood eventually make it home?
I think so. I mean, he has impeccable sense of direction. But he would, I think, wander for like a few hours till it gets properly dark. And he's just kind of like wandering, and if like he meets someone that even vaguely matches the description of a human female, he'll like, sort of narrow his eyes and kind of like see under
Yeah.
the hood if he can, if they're wearing one.
There's maybe a
and
couple,
hide them
but
up.
in the
Yeah.
area of Ashar that the butcher shop is in, it's a very like skeevy area, and so
Sure.
there's no one out at night who's being sort of conspicuously visible, and anyone who sees Makood in a dark alley is turning around and making haste the opposite direction. So
Pretty much. I imagine people hear him coming
what
and
the
then
fuck
avoid
is
him.
that? Jesus Christ, run! It's just newspapers the next morning are like ghost sightings in.
But he's not like gonna break in anywhere or any of that. He's just gonna like eye up some people and maybe, get a bit annoyed that nothing's happening, and maybe he'll like sit down on a bench somewhere for a bit, and then like eventually just like wind his way home.
Imagine like Maku goes to sit on a bench and Declan's like in a tree nearby, like just staring at him with binoculars.
No, so Declan's not hiding. He's definitely like within eye shot of
Yeah.
Makud. If Makud wants his company or wants his help, he can ask. He's literally just there to make sure nobody starts any trouble with Makud and Makud doesn't break anything.
Yeah.
More the second one than the first, maybe.
Either way, whatever it is, he just doesn't want you to have backup while you're in a fragile state.
Sure. I'm not sure like Makud ever particularly reaches out. Like he'll get frustrated and like sit around for a bit and things like that. He might like go to a couple of different bars or something, get in like a drink or two or something, and like eye up the patrons basically, looking for who he's looking for, and then like eventually just like call it a day.
Yeah.
I guess.
So Makud finally makes it home, probably like early hours of the morning. Is Declan heading home?
Yeah. I imagine we'll walk in together, and then when we step in the door, Declan's just going to turn to Makud and say, "Does it smell like coitus to you?"
I shall roll perception for coitus.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Non-natural 20.
You do hear a certain rhythmic thumping, but that could be anything.
Okay.
Bryn's at it again, I suppose.
Makud kind of just like snorts in agreement, just like flared
Well done.
nostrils. Like...
The rhythm is decidedly heterosexual.
I've
kind of like
studied a great many
keeps an eye
words.
at that, like, he's not sure what those words mean.
So, moving on quickly. Is everyone bedding down for the night then? Does Declan have any nighttime engagements? Or other nighttime engagements, I guess?
Engagements? No, he's going to go downstairs and probably just go over his notes and get some rest.
Cool. Well, alright then. Morning comes, bringing hangovers and hot sun. You hear the sounds of, and smell the sounds of a very hearty breakfast being made downstairs. And you'll sort of wake and slowly make your way down the stairs, or up the stairs, depending on where you are. Eli is not stirring. He'll remain passed out for a little while unless Abrishmina is going to boot him out.
No, won't put him out, but will not wake him either. She'll just go downstairs.
Very well. And so you can all meet up, have whatever breakfast or breakfast whiskey it is that you enjoy.
Hair of the dog for Britain, maybe?
Yes. Breakfast whiskey is the most important whiskey of the day. We've established this.
Have we branched out to Bloody Marys yet? I'm not sure.
Bloody Gladys's?
Bloody Gladys. Oh, no. Oh. No, I won't. No. I shouldn't say what I just thought about.
You should definitely say it.
I actually think I know, but I can't remember the name.
No, it's
Okay.
transposing Bloody Gladys, but into this universe, who's usually at the bar. It doesn't work very well as a name.
Oh, I thought you were gonna go with the landlady, but yeah, then
No.
that is a different. Yeah,
That's a different thing.
yeah.
Uh,
Gotcha.
Yes, breakfast.
How is everyone
Makud eats
looking the
a
next
lot.
morning? It was a very heavy night. We know Bryn is decidedly worse for wear.
I was going to say Makud is fine, and then I rolled a ridiculously good. He like got 25 on the con save, so like Makud is fine. Doesn't matter how much you put inside this guy, he's still going.
Beautiful. Oh man, we are
This is
on
a
form
naughty
tonight.
session today.
Fucking children,
naughty.
the lot of
I
you.
love that Jade and I both started making the noise at the same time.
How much can you take, Makud?
Now there's just an image of me like Makud like unnecessarily sexually eating like some big, flank of meat on a bone and like licking it clean in front of Mina, and Mina just like blushing.
Just imagining like all of the like predator sweaty like claps from and like handshakes from when Makud was with the Minotaurs in the desert.
I'm not even
Manly,
sure what we're
manly.
talking about anymore, and I'm concerned. Anyways, Abrashmina looks okay? Question mark. She didn't drink as much as the others.
But she was up
Yep.
far later.
Yeah, I suppose she did roll a. Oh yeah, because I've got resilient con now. She rolled a 13 on
Is that the in canon
con.
a way for you to have got resilient?
No,
con?
so
I had canoned it as like the 2-week trek through the desert hardened
Okay.
her constitution.
I mean, I
but-
just used the D&D sex rules, to be honest.
Oh god.
There's well-known rules.
I can literally send you them. It's a home brewery thing that someone made.
Great.
Yeah, we can go down that route if you want.
Anyways, she looks okay. I think. I don't know.
So you guys
It's up to
get
you,
that
man.
bedhead.
Yeah, she's fine.
Declan also is pretty fresh. He didn't really drink anything. He's gonna come up freshly showered and wearing some,
And Declan's used to like
modest clothes.
being out late anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's probably fine. How is the question of the day? How is Bryn looking?
Did she make it up the stairs? Because if not, Makud probably would have picked you up on the way and then put you to bed.
I mean, she definitely made it up the stairs. It just might have taken her a little longer.
Okay.
So
Probably
you just
had to
have
sit
a
down.
wee nap in the middle.
Yeah.
Been there.
I'd say she probably looks okay. Not like, I mean, you can tell she's had been drinking the night before, but she's tried to like put herself together. She's
So-
not like,
Not a complete wreck.
yeah.
Morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Morning.
It's quite a party.
Indeed. How was your night, Bakut? You made it in okay?
Makud, like, eating heartily, like, I didn't find her, not yet. But there was no trouble.
No trouble is good. I can try and see if I can divine some things about her today, if you'd like.
He like stops eating for a moment, and like looks. I suppose he who watches sees a lot. May
could
well
have-
have seen her.
He could have maybe seen what has happened to her. But yes, if you would like, I can try after breakfast to see if I can divine anything about her whereabouts.
I would be curious to see what you find out as well.
Matt kind of like smiles at you and then sort of nods affirmatively and goes back to eating.
Mina just smiles back at him. So we're in the middle of discussing what we are going to do. um, for a journey back into the desert.
We had discussed, I believe, a period of 1 month before departing, yes?
I believe. I don't think we actually landed on that, other than we know it is going to be at least months that we are out there. So we wanted things taken care of before we left, because it is going to be at least a month to and a month, like another month back from even like the closest place.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think like we were still in the middle of discussing. This is me slipping in and out of character. Sorry, we were in the middle of discussing what things we needed to settle whenever Makut got up. Like you said that. How long do you think you'll need for your networking?
It would likely take me at least a few weeks to build the network that I am envisioning. In addition to contacting a number of individuals that I either as on my own or as part of the virtues had previously accosted. People such as the some of the members of the slave trade that we had left alive, a few of the chaps from the inn that we had raided that I had spared. I plan on finding them to see if they can be turned into agents. It may take some time, but I promise to be as swift as I can.
There is the business with the Vakar. We mentioned fighting Kleinlarden's pot. Did we want to try and arrange that to be an event? Possibly make more money?
Seems like a good way to raise our profile in a positive way. I do think our first priority, though, should be to help Rakud find some peace of mind regarding his friend. My activities will be mostly nocturnal, but what we can do during the day, perhaps, is to, beginning with your donations, perhaps we can locate her and establish that she is safe and maybe figure out a way to free her.
It's obvious that she is not in the obvious places due to the fact that she has not already been found. And we happen to know that she was not in the year of mine because, well, she was not there when we were there.
And just so I make sure I have the meta knowledge correct, we're talking about two people. One of them we know is in the palace, and one of them is missing, right?
Yes.
Okay, and we're talking about finding the missing person.
Yes.
Yeah. So Abella is the human that Makud was looking for last night ineffectually, and then she has a half-elf life partner, lover, called Edele, who was Halara, who was on that list of.
And she's in the.
She's in the palace under house arrest, as far as we know.
Okay, well, that's
can't really publicly
Sharad told us.
punish a moon elf. I don't think. Not many of them leave, and we have probably a very small percentage chance that Abella is still alive. But Makut doesn't really appreciate that.
Is there any chance of us gaining audience with them? Sharad says that he knows some of the other elves, did he not? Or am I confusing things?
That is one of the. Sorry.
I was going to say, yeah, he does know them. But...
That is one of the things I was planning to discuss with him today.
At the very least, if we cannot get access to her, perhaps any of Sharat's allies in the palace might know. But I suppose if he had been looking for Abella himself, he probably would have already reached out and asked. But I suppose that is also not something we should assume. There is also, should we go visit the Bell Witch to let her know about the clergy that may come to work on her temple?
Certainly.
I think it would probably be rude to turn up and work on somebody's temple without telling them.
Yes. I know it is not exactly what she asked us to do, but perhaps it will be worth something to her to bring, having brought people to restore her temple, at least physically.
Perhaps after your divination, then.
Abrashmina nods. Is there anything you would like to accomplish, Bryn?
I mean, I just want to make sure my mother's settled. But I mean, she has a place, but she's not herself. I saw some improvement yesterday, but I don't know.
These things take time.
Is there a place here in Ashar for the infirm? I don't want to think like that, but a temple, like,
Yeah, I mean, there's, you know, all temples to some extent will provide healing. Your best one would be Istus. But as for like specific places, not particularly. Ashar is very cutthroat, you know. You either survive or you die, and it's very natural selection in that way. So there's not that many people sort of interested in providing assistance like that.
There's definitely a temple or two that could provide assistance.
Declan, when will your sister be returning?
That is entirely up to her. I have advised her that I do not believe it's safe for her here, but she does not feel comfortable to return to Dithoyne to her father just yet. I am doing my best not to push her.
And your preference is for her to return or to stay?
My preferences in this are confused, I think, but my instinct is for her to return.
And there's a reason she wouldn't want to return to her father? Your father?
He shifts uncomfortably a little bit. My adopted father, my guardian. But the only reason she says she does not wish to return is her shame at what she has done. I think she wishes to do work of atonement before returning.
That is very noble.
I think any father would be happy to have their child return, but I don't know the dynamics there, so.
He's a good man, but he's a hard man as well. I plan on writing a letter to him today to inform him of her safety, as well as to see if there can be any diplomatic pressure brought to bear against Ashar to help curb the slave trade. He's not a powerful man, but he does have powerful friends.
It is my understanding of slave trade that most of the trading in the mint is based out of Kar.
Makar?
Mm-hmm.
Do I know where that is?
South of Ishkale, west of everything.
That would be
Oh.
Marak.
Oh, Marak. Sorry.
The Wood Elfie place. Or is
No.
No, the Wood Elves.
The Wood
Is
Elves live in Algira. Marak is like Tatooine, like no laws,
Okay.
no real guard presence. Sort of like a do whatever you want. So like all the slaves that go to Ashar from Lament go through Merak, because that's kind of it's the closest place and you can ship them over easily.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's very much like a.
And because they're a shithole, they'll deal with the Algiran elves, who also deal in
Yeah.
trades.
Are they not that far away?
Mm-mm.
Or remember?
No, they're like on the other side of the river to each other. Like
And-
catty
and-
quarter.
And most people in Lament turn a blind eye to what's going on in Algira and Merak.
Yeah.
Correct? Yeah.
The
So,
Algirans mostly
There's a bit of
because
a distance between them and I think most
Yeah,
human settlements.
it's less
And
that they
also-
turn a blind eye, I would say, and more that just like in this kind of setting where it would take months to walk from the south to the north of Lament. Like they're so far away that it doesn't really affect you. And
if there's one thing to change public opinion, it's the kidnapping of a rich girl.
well,
You could try.
The idea is simply to raise alarm in Dathoin over the dangers of the Ashari slave trade, and if pressure can be brought to bear against the Moon Elves and against other powerful people in Ashar, they may be more willing to help us in removing slavery from Ashar. Perhaps.
would be good.
But I am curious to hear the results of your divination.
Yes. And I guess if we have no other items to discuss, I can do that now.
McCood basically goes, one moment, I have something to do, and he kind of like dashes off and goes downstairs, and because he realized that he kind of suggested and got the ball rolling on us buying the rest of the block effectively
Oh,
through Sharat. So he is fairly confident that there's going to be more space for the wyverns, the wyverns or whatever. So he is going to go downstairs and give that news.
yeah, Jari's there.
Jari, I have done it. We are going to be expanding.
Expanding.
The buildings either side of us, they are without people, and the rich friends that I have, they are going to buy more of it. So we either get more basement or maybe we can get a building that is a little wyverns, and he kind of nuzzles one of them, kind of like tussles with one of them. Is like, maybe they can see the sky. Will you be able to keep them here, or stop them flying away?
Of course. That should not be a problem.
Good. I will see to it that this is no place for wyverns. That it is good for keeping you quiet. And he's like, gonna go in and like nuzzle with them.
He'll just nod, sort of watch you and like give you a moment with them, and he'll say, "It is good that you are taking such an interest. They need lots of emotional well-being.
Emotional what? Sorry.
well-being.
Well-being. Well, I have a lot of plans for them
This is good.
and for us. And he's gonna like possibly. I don't think he's told him about the whole dragon visions yet, so he's possibly gonna lose track of time a little bit, telling him about dragon visions
Yeah.
and these huge monumental battles that he wants them to like be a part of, basically.
Jari is like transfixed. He's like grown up on similar stories. And so like hearing this kind of stuff coming from you is like very, it's just very kind of, what's the word, reminiscent of home. And also like maybe exciting to the guy, like hearing the sort of that he might get to sort of have some part in some of these incredible stories that you're telling. So
That's certainly
he's on board.
kind of the angle he's selling, although he's not not selling it like a salesman. He's just honest about it.
Yeah, totally.
Describing these like the flying formation of these great beasts with Makud upon them battling dragons, and
Love it.
his part in it all to play, and I imagine probably like half an hour goes by or something, and you don't like he's just been down in the basement that entire time, and he kind of like slaps Jar in the back, and they have a wonderful time, and then he'll like I will come back to you soon, and then like walk upstairs, and he's almost like he's basically forgotten what they were just talking about upstairs.
Love it.
As everyone's had the breakfast and the Makood's like wandering back up as like Abrishmina is like laying out like the incense and stuff for her ritual.
Yeah.
And so she will cast divination as a ritual. And she's going to ask where in the city can we find, or no, she's going to ask where can we find Abella?
And the answer you will receive says, Abella lives where the wealthy reside.
Okay. And she will repeat that to the others. So that could mean that she is in the palace or she lives in the wealthy merchant district. But she lives.
I'd be interested to know if she's there voluntarily or.
That is not something that I could ask today. Perhaps tomorrow. Do not wish to pester things. The answers get more and more questionable, unreliable if I keep asking.
I can begin doing investigations. Makood, do you think you could describe Abella for me?
Oh,
Declan will take out his sketchbook.
She was human girl.
I want to put this more in Rob's hands because I've like pointedly said that like Makood's memory is fucking terrible.
So
Yeah.
It's where a lot of his intellect points have gone missing.
Makud,
You can make a roll or whatever you think he would remember. I mean,
you can,
like, they were close-ish, but like this is a kind of friend of a friend. I don't know how much time
you
they
would
spent.
remember her. Like, you'd spent a long time like watching out
Okay.
for her to help smuggle her in.
Okay.
So Makud begins describing to you this short woman with... She's Ashari, but she's got lighter skin than a lot of the other Ashari folk. So maybe she has some Lamenta blood in her. She has black hair and green eyes, which are like very kind of vibrant green, Makud describes.
Is that a pretty rare trait for an Ashari?
Yeah. You won't. You see mostly very dark, sort of brown eyes. But like Makud always describes that, you know, he'd see her coming up to where he was guarding, and it's sort of like a cat, where her eyes were just like peering out at him from under the cloak. And you think that's probably enough to go on to begin kind of preliminary investigations at the very least.
Okay.
Here is a question for our DM. Do I have to have met someone physically in order to cast Sending?
I think it's just someone you're familiar with.
Yeah, I think you have to be familiar with them.
Yes, that is up to interpretation.
I don't think you can cast Sending to Abella,
Okay.
because if I described my mother to you, I don't think you would say you were familiar with her. You know what I mean?
Fair enough. Yes, but I know her story and I know her blah 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 blah.
I mean,
No, it's
see my
cool.
previous point?
Yeah. Yeah, if I can't answer, or if I can't like pick her out of a crowd or answer her multi-factor authentication questions, I'm not familiar.
Yeah, if you can't make a decent guess at what her Wi-Fi
like
password
what's
is.
her security questions? Maybe I can guess. No. Okay, fine. Worth an ask.
Of course.
I'll just kind of I'll put a hand on Makud's arm and just say, I'll do my best to find her, and I'll let you know what I find tonight. And then I'm gonna head up to Ethan's room.
All right. What are the rest of you doing?
Makud kind of like nods at Declan and like gives him a hefty pat. That being just his default pat. He like, I think like, not suddenly, but like, grabs Mina's kind of like hand over the table or something, and is like, "Thank you for the gifts for your watches." And he kind of like looks up into the sky, into the ceiling. He kind of like leans close, like conspiratorially, but with his classic loud whisper that everyone can hear, and goes, "It means he sees her. She still lives."
Yes, Makud. She still lives. And she'll kind of like give like Makud's meaty arm like a big pat. You are always welcome for the gifts. This is my way of thanking you for all that you have done for me. I hope we find your Bella.
He kind of like, when you're like all done for me, like he kind of straightens up, kind of proud, and then when you say you're Bella, he like frowns a little bit and is like, "She's not mine. She's Adelaide's." He kind of like says that, and not like, like a 4-year-old correcting you, like silly you kind of thing.
Yes, of course.
Is there any reason to believe that Abella is like a fugitive or anything?
I mean, she was sort of like taken away for
So she was caught, right?
disciplinary, yeah, and
Oh, okay.
she would not
Over a
come
year
out.
ago?
Yeah, a long time ago.
Yeah.
Like a decade ago, or like less than
No.
Not that long. So
No. Like a year to 2 years or something.
Yeah, like
Probably.
that? Okay.
Makud, she was caught at the same time Makud was sent to the car. So
Okay.
a couple of years. Enough time for Makud to become a household name, or Amaru too.
And she's a young woman?
Yep.
Okay.
You said Athelay is a half elf?
No.
Moon elf.
Moon elf.
Moon. Okay, moon elf. That's what I heard the qualifier, and then in my head, must have heard.
I
it
actually
like
heard half
moon.
elf too.
Okay,
Oh.
good. It wasn't just me then.
Maybe I misspoke or something, but no, she's
No,
a
it's cool,
full-blooded moon elf.
Well,
She tried to like leave the system with her lover,
Yeah.
but it didn't go to plan.
It did
We have had
not.
a couple of discussions, but it has been a while ago.
yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, if what?
Declan was going upstairs.
Yeah, so Declan's gone upstairs. What are the others doing then? You guys just had your sort of little talk. Bryn?
I imagine Bryn's just probably chilling, waiting to see what everybody else is doing. I mean, if there's nothing too pressing, she might go to a booth by herself, get some space.
Yeah. Alright. Well, Declan, you head up to where your sister is beginning to wake up, kind of stretching out. Or maybe she's downstairs, I'm not sure. Up to you, I suppose. I think you said maybe in the because you've got a room allocated upstairs, so she's probably
Yeah, so
that
she's
room
in
and
my
you're
bedroom.
downstairs?
I just don't sleep there.
yeah.
But I'll knock on the door and wait till she
Yeah, she'll
bids me enter.
She will bid you enter immediately. Come in.
Good morning. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling quite good, thank you. Yourself?
I'm glad to hear it, and I'm well. And I'll reach into my satchel and I'll pull out a letter that I've composed for Lord Teowe and say, I've written this for your father, and I planned on sending it away today. I was wondering if there was anything you would like to add. If you had composed anything for him yourself, I could certainly send it along in the same parcel.
Just to tell him that I'm safe and I'll be home as soon as I can.
You're comfortable with it being in my hand, then?
Yes.
Very well. I believe later in the day there is to be a journey to a temple where you and some of the other former clergy might put your idle hands to use, if you so choose. I believe this afternoon.
Of course. That sounds good. I've been looking for something to do.
Declan will kind of nods a little curtly, not rudely, but just kind of a little stiff, and pretty well. I have some errands to run, but I'll be back in a few hours.
All right. Well, good luck, I suppose.
Thank you.
Sort of
And
like,
I'll turn and go.
yeah, there's like an awkward sort of like glance. And you head out.
Sorry, can I just ask, what was the lord that you mentioned?
Teowe.
Could you put that?
Deoywy.
Very well.
At this point, there's sort of like a vague groan from Abrashmina's room, and just before Declan leaves, Eli comes stumbling out and wanders downstairs. Kind of like stumbles halfway through, but as far as like rubs his eyes, kind of like slides into the booth next to Abrashmina. Just kind of like brushes his shoulder up against her. Morning, he says, voice like very croaky, eyes like all puffy and black ringed.
Is it just Abrashmina there?
Yeah, I think Bryn is in a booth on her own. She said.
I mean, I was
And
around.
Makoud was there.
Yeah, where's Makoud? Was Makoud with Bina?
Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah, they've just been having that conversation. So.
Eli had the mind wine right, and it didn't go well with him, or
Yeah,
did Mina
he's-
convince him not to have it? I can't
No, that was
remember.
Taryn had it.
Taryn had it.
Taryn
Mina
had it.
stopped it.
Yeah.
Stopped him from having it. Eli. Makoud like looks at him, and is like, "You look terrible," and he doesn't even have the mind wine.
Well, I find quite enough stimulation without it, I suppose.
Yeah, Abrashmina is kind of like sat up straighter whenever he got into the table and is like now looking embarrassed.
I just natural 20'd to perceive that. I was gonna let it go, but I thought I'd roll.
Fantastic.
Makoud picks up on the weird fleshy humans and their blushes, because I guess when you're a Minotaur and you have fur everywhere, you don't get blushing.
You just put out extra musk.
You get tail flicks.
Nostril
Yeah.
flaring.
Mhm.
It's very
There might have been a
subtle.
little bit
Declan's
of
just going to
nostril
sigh very
flaring.
loudly.
Eli sort of like
Declan will just sigh very loudly on the way out the door.
just sort of turn and like kind of rest his like elbow on the table and his head on his hand and just sort of like give you a sideways look, sort of trying to weigh up how you're reacting to him coming down.
Yeah, Abrashmina is kind of trying to look professional in an environment where she cannot look professional at the moment. But she'll kind of like glance over at him and say, "Did you sleep well?"
No. He gives her like a big grin.
There is breakfast on the sideboard if you are hungry.
I'll get breakfast back at the butcher's shop, I think.
Abrashmina will nod.
Right. Be seeing you. He'll like stand, kind of stretch out, and kind of like turn to you and sort of awkwardly like shift and say, maybe I'll see you later.
If you like. She says coolly.
He just like nods and kind of glances at Makoud in a sort of like don't tell Declan type way.
Oh, Declan knows.
Declan knows.
Yeah, Declan knows.
Declan knows everything, but Makoud, I wouldn't say that. He doesn't know what he's laying down, to be
He
honest.
sort of like opens his mouth to say something and then decides against it before just turning on his heel and striding away.
Makoud is like mildly offended that he won't stay and have breakfast here. Like, is our breakfast not good enough? And also, the first thing my mind went to is Makud throws a croissant at him, but I doubt we have croissants. So what do we have for me to throw at the back of his head?
Some kind of date-filled pastry.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean,
cool.
you guys
And
definitely.
a Jari, like, yeah, it's like a date-filled bear claw.
Yeah, you guys definitely haven't hired a chef, and Tolox is currently trying to do breakfast,
Okay.
and it is terrible.
Oh, is it really? Okay.
It's Tolox. He's like just bad at everything.
Everything. That is sad.
He's the Cyril Figgis of this organization.
Yeah. Suppressing
But he's got
fire.
Suppressing fire.
Yeah. So Makud is gonna wait for him to like cross the bar and like open the door, and then Makud is going to attempt to like hit it on the back of his head, and just be like something for the trip. And I'm gonna roll. I actually
Not
just
a
rolled
melee
another.
weapon, so you don't get proficiency.
I actually just rolled another 20. That's 2 20s in a row. One for spotting Musk, and the other for
What is
throwing
it you're
croissants.
throwing?
The date-filled
the
pastry,
date-filled
at the
pastry.
back of his
Okay.
head.
It hits his head with a rather hard, stale type thunk, and he
Oh.
sort of like turns and sort of like gives you a sort of somewhere between like a slight irritation and finding it funny, but I'm really hungover and I do not need things hitting in my head type thing before just walking away.
That was not very nice, Makud.
He needed something to eat.
He is quite skinny.
And he badmouthed our establishment. And he like stands up, like pressing against the table as he goes. Like there's probably creaks and stuff. Maybe we should get a chef.
I do not think that he was trying to badmouth us, but I do agree that we need a chef. Abrashmina says that she's like picking like some of like the cut almonds off the top of her pastry and eating that only.
Tolox
Because
is just like crying
she's-
into a frying pan in the back room.
She's pretty sure that he somehow burnt the outside and the inside dough is still doughy.
Yeah.
So like the only edible part is the filling and the almonds that coat it.
Yeah, he's not done a swell job there.
I can see if Holly wants to do it. She used to cook for the troop all the time.
That could be good.
I will be the tester. Have her direct any meals to me.
Oh, okay.
I'm sure it will be fine.
I don't know how many Ashard dishes she knows how to make.
People can get the shower dishes anywhere. You come to the Mirage, you can have a variety, yes? It will become a novelty. Because we are cheaper than the Shelfady.
I don't know.
Cheaper.
Hmm?
A lot cheaper.
Yeah.
We're not nearly as cool. I mean,
No.
temperature.
Or the other way.
I know. We are cooler.
We have better entertainment.
That's debatable.
Well, depending on whether or not Shmia thinks that you're going to be here.
Yeah, we're gonna have to fix that.
Abrashmina pointedly tries to ignore her embarrassment by moving on to other things. So, shall we go to the temple? Are we waiting?
I think Declan was going to go talk to Sherrod first, and then I thought we were going in the afternoon.
We can
No.
go together. That works, yes. Although, be following after Eli. Okay, hold on. What can I do that does not involve following?
McCood was
Um,
planning to go talk to Charette about Wyvern Holdings anyway. He just wasn't going to go out. Like,
Oh, okay. I suppose we can all go to the butcher shop then. I will.
like he's in no rush. Like, he's throwing pastry and chatting with you guys, and then he's just gonna at some point get up and head to the butcher shop as well. I guess. So there's probably some time has gone by.
But
Okay.
I cannot think of an errand to run or any other things that have to be done other than the temple or your guys' things. So if you don't have anything, Bryn, do you have anything that you wish to accomplish before we go to the temple?
I mean, I was gonna go spend some time with my mother and Holly, but
I can go with you, she says quickly.
okay.
Yes. Let Makud and Declan go speak to Sharat and we can go to the Shalfadi. This sounds perfect. Yes, we'll meet you all in a few hours. Okay, bye.
So, Bryn and Abrishmina head to the Shelfady. Declan and McCood head to the butcher shop.
Mm-hmm.
What? It's like Declan, and then 10 minutes later or something, it's
Yeah.
Eli, and then 10 minutes later it's McCood.
So McCood, if Declan's already there, then he would see Eli like come in and go immediately to his room, or a room on the balcony. You assume it's his. McCood, when you get there, you don't see any sign of him. But we can.
It's okay. He's not that interested.
Yeah. But we can play out any conversations you wish to have.
Yeah, if Sherrod is available.
Yeah, Sherrod is sitting. Looks like he hasn't slept again, and it's just like his desk in the office is just like piled with papers, and he seems like knee deep in them, and like doesn't immediately notice that you've come in. Hello.
Have we caught you at a bad time?
No, of course not. Of course not. He like rubs his eyes, like blinks slowly. What can I do for you, Declan?
If you have a few moments, and I'll come and sit. First of all, we'd like to thank you again for all your help so far. We wondered if we could press upon you further for your assistance in a few small matters.
Of course.
First of all, it is my aspiration to build an informant network here in Ashar, one similar to the one I built in Dathoin for many years. It took a great deal of time, but it proved to be an invaluable asset in my war against crime. And perhaps it could be of service to us here as well. I was wondering if perhaps you knew the names or contact information for any in the city guard who you believe might be of a more sterling quality in their honor.
You mean less corrupt?
Men we can trust who perhaps see their job as the pursuit of justice rather than self-enrichment.
He nods. It will take a little time, but I think I can gather a few names and maybe set up a meeting shortly.
Excellent. Yes, please let me know when you think such a thing can be done.
I will.
Did they say I will or well?
I will.
I will. Okay. Thank you. Is Makud like in the room now?
No, you can have time unless you want him to be there.
I mean, if you want to show up at this point, I was going to bring up your thing.
Okay. He can be wandering in.
And looking over his shoulder at the approach of Makud. To the issue we discussed last night. one of Makood's friends. What was her name again?
Abella Sand.
Abella. Abella Sand. Is this a name you are familiar with?
As I said last night, I am to some extent, yes.
Sorry, can I just say, like, it meant sand in common, but we did change it to Ramal.
Ramal.
Mamal. You might remember, Rob, maybe.
I didn't, but
Okay,
sounds like
because we
something.
talked about it being weird that her name was Sand in common, and that
Yeah.
we'd find a Sand version of
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Ashari.
According to Abrishmina's, I kind of like gesture with my hands up to the sky, divine information, divine sources. Abella is within the city, and she lives where the rich people live. We assume this means either in the one of the more wealthy quarters of town or in the palace itself. Have you heard of any woman matching her description? And I'll pull out my sketch and describe her in these areas.
I haven't heard of any personally, but many of the Shals keep slaves. All of them, in fact. And there are many slaves in the palace, though Abella does not reside in the palace. I can guarantee that. But
So then, go on.
If I was to guess, I would say that she is in the employ of one of the Shals, most certainly.
As a slave or as an employee?
As a slave.
That was my fear as well. Very well, I will look further into this. There is one final thing. I'll pull out the letter for Lord Teowe. Do you have any way of sending mail to Dithoin?
Well, there is, of course, the shipping company. Though I have found that if I would like my mail sent slightly more discreetly, we have personal couriers.
I would be interested in hiring one.
Of course.
This is a letter to the man who raised me for the last 10 odd years of my life. He is a minor noble in Dithoin, but he does have some influence. And it is my hope that perhaps some of that influence can be brought to bear to help us. So if you could see to it that this letter reaches Lord Teowe in Dithoin, I would be quite grateful.
Of course, Declan. Yes, I'll see to that at once. He holds out his hand for the letter.
I'll sort of let it linger and is held between us for a second, and before I let it go, and say, Sherrod, if there is any way that we can help you, you will let us know.
I will. It has just been a busy time is all. Running this operation is rewarding, but difficult, and what with my responsibilities on the council starting to make some headway, there are a lot of deals and complex conversations to be had. I must be prepared, so
Of course.
there's a lot of paperwork.
If there's any way I can be of assistance, do let me know.
I will, Declan.
And, of course, and should you see an opportunity, there may well come a time when we would like to speak with your Moon Elf allies on the council.
I am slowly working towards that goal, but do not fear, I haven't forgotten. I know that
Thank you.
this is the next step in dealing with the slavery of a Shah, and well, I'm committed to making sure that it happens.
Was that a dot dot dot? He trail off?
No.
No,
He
okay.
says it happens, and then yeah, he's done.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Well, I've come to trust and rely upon your skill and judgment. I have faith that whatever action you take will be done in wisdom.
I hope so.
I kind of look over to Makud. Anything to add? Sort of look.
Makud kind of like waits for a moment, things sort of settle, and then he's like, "So we are buying the buildings around the Mirage. I have several wyvern that are growing very quickly, and I would like to comment." He wouldn't say commandeer. I would like to take perhaps one of the tops of one of the buildings with the biggest roof for them, because a basement is no place for anything that belongs in the sky.
Of course. I believe one of the buildings is 3 stories. So that would probably work best if you took the top floor and the roof.
And
Makud,
it is...
are you sure it's safe to keep beasts such as these in a city?
Where else would I keep them?
I'm not sure you should keep them at all, personally, but
We saved them. They cannot look after themselves.
suppose you're right. And Declan sees he's not going to win this argument, so he's just going to let it go.
Yeah.
Yeah. He kind of like waits a moment and is like, good. He did, from his memory, which yes is poor, 3 floored building, is it like connected-ish to the Mirage, or is it across the street or
It's
something?
not connected, but there's an alley between them. Makud could jump
Okay.
it.
Is there a possibility he could connect the basements of the 2 buildings?
Yeah, it's only a wall.
Good. Good. I'll tell them immediately. I'm sure they will be overjoyed.
I'm sure they will. And Shurat like gives Declan like the like a very brief glance before grinning at Makud.
Declan shrugs.
Did you hear like Rajari, sorry, told him it was going to be like a couple of months or something until they were like adolescent or something of reasonable size? Yeah. He says he like looks around at all of the paperwork and stuff. And with what Declan was saying, it's like, if you have need of several adolescent wyverns in a few months' time, I'm sure we will be happy to help you.
I'm sure they will come in useful at some point, definitely.
At the moment, they're mostly good for screeching and shitting.
And biting, don't forget biting.
And biting, of course.
I reckon they could almost take an arm off a man already. He says kind of like casually.
That's like one of the things they measure in Minotaur tribes. You know, your first word, your first arm pulled off.
You're basically just a Wookiee.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Sherrod, is Laurie here?
I think so. I'm not sure she's awake yet. She tends to sleep in a little in the mornings.
If it's all right, I think I'll stay and wait for her.
Of course. May I ask the purpose?
I wondered if she might be interested in doing some enchantment work for me.
Well, I'm sure you can ask. She is also rather busy at the moment, but I expect she'll make time.
I would take a recommendation if she doesn't have the time, but either way. I'll be in the bar, and I'll leave you to it. Please don't hesitate to ask if you need any help.
I will. Thank you, Declan. And thank you, Makud.
Makud nods, and then maybe joins Declan at the bar because he mentioned it, and drinks are involved.
I'll be here for at least an hour, I assume. I'd be happy for the company.
We've got several hours, haven't we, until late the afternoon?
Yeah.
It's like 8, 9 o'clock, right? Something like that.
Yeah. Makud, picks up drinking whatever Uvir is putting down. Regardless of time, perhaps her second breakfast,
Yeah.
if offered.
It's a entire fried breakfast somehow made into a drink. But yeah, Abrishmina and Bryn, you guys arrive at the Shalfadi. You see Alba has got up, and is kind of manning the front desk, but is sitting there with his feet up and has fallen asleep. And he's just having a sort of extra little lie-in nap. And so you go through to the bar where you see Holly and Kaya's just sitting, kind of enjoying a quiet breakfast together. Not really speaking, but
So Bryn will kind of grab Abrishmina's elbow before they go in. I have a question for you. I have a lot of questions for you. This one's really important.
Nothing happened. I mean, what?
Okay, I'm gonna let that one go. You'd be able to tell if someone's brain was fried in the desert, right? Like if the sun cooked someone's brain.
I am very certain that that would be obvious without training, honestly.
So you don't think my brain got cooked by the sun?
I mean, you seem pretty much well in your control of your facilities as you did, or faculties as you did before we left. You were drinking a lot. You are not that hungover, are you?
It was before I was. Well, I wasn't. I hadn't had that much to drink when it happened.
When what happened?
Do you remember the first time? Was it Ramiel? You said that was?
Ramiel, yes.
Sorry. I'm always going to have difficulty with the language.
Doesn't count if you don't roll your R's.
Ramiel, yes.
You remember the first time he spoke to you, right?
Yes.
Did you think you were going crazy?
I did a little at first, yes. It did not come through clearly the first time.
Oh, this is pretty clear. Clear as a... Well, things that are clear, I guess.
As I have grown more distant from the temple and have made my own way, my connection with Ramiel has gotten stronger. It is only recently that he's been able to appear to me.
There's stories about bad things attaching themselves to people. I mean, my father told me stories. They claim to be gods or good emissaries of gods, but sometimes they're bad.
Are you saying that you are afraid that my Ramiel is one of such entity?
No, I should probably explain. And I'll kind of like pull her a little bit over to like an area, like so we're not like blocking anything. Yesterday, when I was with Makud and we were here, I thought something was watching me, but it wasn't. And like I blacked out, and I don't know how long I blacked out for or anything. But a voice was talking to me, showing me things that saying that they're the source of some of my gifts. And I mean, I did the only rational thing and was like, "You're not expecting some kind of bargain, are you, or anything?" But they're like, "No, we're good." I just don't know what it means. And they talked about like waking other waking others up, or that others were like me were sleeping. It's just a lot of stuff.
Like Abrajmina's brow kind of furrows a bit, but she kind of like takes one of Bryn's hands and like places it in her own and kind of like one hand over the other type thing. And and it is possible that you have a connection to something. You have always felt that you were different, yes?
Yeah,
If this is not a new feeling, does it feel as though some of what this thing said uh, brought things into focus?
I mean, it showed me things I really only see like when I sleep. You know, I don't know if it was just my subconscious or something. Just, I mean, I don't talk about those things to anybody, with anyone.
No.
I mean,
The first time that I heard Ramiel's voice, it is like I awoke from a very long sleep, that I had been sleepwalking for most of my life. And hearing his voice brought more of the world in for me. And the longer I am away from the temple, which now in retrospect, I believe was deafening me to him, uh, the stronger and more clear that he is, and the more awake I feel. That is why the color in the mine affected me so. It made me numb again.
I've just never really seen things like this. Like when the sword, and she'll kind of like pull it up a little bit out of the sheath. When I first touched it, I saw something. I saw the preacher. How he took this sword from someone.
You
I
saw
don't.
the past.
I
You
think
were,
so.
you were able to find a connection to the past through this sword. Yes? Is
I
that how
think so. Like I believe like that I saw the past, and I have no reason to doubt that it's true, and I don't know why. It's just I know that that's what that was.
And this voice, you say, It was telling you that it is part of why you can do that.
I mean, I didn't put those two things together, but maybe.
You said that it was responsible for some of your gifts. Do you think perhaps this is one of them?
Maybe. I mean, I've never had anything like that happen before.
Perhaps it is like as you grow stronger, so does your connection with this entity.
Shay. She said her name was Shay.
Are you afraid of this, Shay?
It's like something's finally woken up in me. And I don't know if I'm afraid.
She is part of the darkness that you told me about. Do you think?
She's connected to it somehow. I don't. She says she's not part of it. But I saw the vision of her and it's connected with the darkness.
Tell me of the vision.
It was just the vision that I had with the sand smoke. I saw her running from something. It was just I don't even have a. It was dark and roiling clouds, like black and purple, and it was just consuming everything in front of its path. And then they were running from it, and I know that they were running from it. And then I saw their arrival here and the pact they made with people in Callan for their survival. And I don't know what that means.
They could not survive on their own, so they sought out help from people who could.
I
Something
think so.
symbiotic, yes.
I think so. I mean that's making sense.
Well, I
This is
know that
crazy, right?
No, it is not crazy. I will say that I do not think that this is something that you should be afraid of, because the gifts and the abilities that you have not been tinged with any sort of uh, badness, like your ability to touch the minds of others. That is not uh, a bad thing. Your
No.
ability to connect with the specters of the past, that is not a bad thing. If this creature, entity, Shay, says that she is part of that, then she is of this same I suppose grayness. It is not dark, it is not light. It just is.
Okay.
I can ask for things on your behalf if you would like.
Maybe. I mean, maybe if I start feeling like this is going in a dark place, I think talking to someone helped.
There is nothing inherently bad or good about darkness and light. There are sometimes a thing just is. I am a cleric of the god of death, but But death is not a bad thing.
What,
Darkness necessarily may not be bad.
whatever this was running from was, it's bad.
But it's not that thing.
It could just be my ability to understand whatever it was. I just don't have the ability to picture or see what it was truly running from.
Perhaps. But it was running from it. If you know that the thing that it was running from is bad, then you know that at the very least, this thing is not as bad as the thing it was running from, even if you do not understand it completely.
I guess there's comfort in that.
Slight comfort, I know, but I feel like perhaps I may have used the wrong kind of words there, but
No, it makes sense. Thank you. Just,
did you
Uh,
get the feeling that it has been here a long time, after making the pact with the Callan? Callan are very old people, yes?
I mean, I'm not so good with the details, and I probably wasn't asking the right questions because I was just really concerned about.
The voice that was suddenly talking to you.
Yeah, so maybe I'll get some of that information another time.
Ambrosmina chuckles and like pats your hand a couple of times. It is understandable that you were perhaps worried that you were going crazy. I thought I was going crazy. But
I'm probably going crazy.
I do not think that you should worry.
Well, if you're not worried, then I'm not worried.
Perhaps it is because I am used to having someone in my ear for such a long time now that I kind of understand the idea that you have someone.
And I think my mother's waiting.
And you guys can sort of head over to where they're sitting, and Holly has like a bright smile and everything for you, and Kaya does flash like a small smile at you, Bryn, though she doesn't say anything yet.
I'll give her a kiss on the top of her head. And how are we doing today?
Good, thank you. Holly's like clearly in a very euphoric mood. How are you? Long night, was it?
Yeah, a little bit. Any improvement?
Yeah, we're getting there, aren't we, Kaya? Kaya sort of like gives her a small nod.
Good. Well, I brought my friend Abershmina.
Holly just sort of like
Hello.
gives you a big toothy grin.
I am Abrashmina, and these are my friends.
She just says, you had a late one as well, it looks like.
What do you mean?
You look tired.
Ah, yes, I am tired.
Gives you like a glance between you and Bryn, like a and then looks back down at her breakfast and continues to eat.
I'm hoping you guys are being fed well here.
I mean, she like points at a plate that is like stacked full of food. Proper like meaty Callan stuff that Uvi has obviously prepared.
It looks way better than the half-cooked pastries we had this morning.
Help yourself. Holly sort of pushes her plate like into the middle of the table.
You want some of this, Abershmina? This is like proper cooking.
Yes, please. Bryn mentions that you are a bit of a shelf yourself, cook yourself, Holly.
Aye, that's true. I'm usually the one who ends up cooking for our little troop. It's good
I
fun.
mean, I tried to help from time to time.
Yeah, I really wish you wouldn't.
How was I supposed to know it was poisonous? It looked just like the other ones.
No, it was red and white.
I mean, like the other red and white things.
You can see how we got along. And like Holly kind of grins at Evershmina.
Honestly, I don't know how long you guys are gonna be here.
Here, like a show, or here, like
Here.
the shelf?
I mean, Ashar, I mean, I can make arrangements for you to move elsewhere if this place isn't to your liking.
I mean, this place is lovely, but we can't just stay here, living off their dime.
No, I mean, no, obviously not. I just some time to recover and maybe over to the Mirage.
Yeah,
Once...
I'd like that.
But you gotta earn your keep, though.
Oh yeah?
I mean, yeah. Who else is going to keep me from poisoning half our customers?
Oh, I see where this is going.
Really? You are the best cook.
Mm-hmm. She like gives you a grin and sort of kicks you under the table.
Fine. You will be well compensated
Excellent.
for your service. And you can meet our friend Schmear.
That's
Oh
And
yes,
interesting
that
name.
is the thing we need. We need someone to babysit him to make sure that he only brings in good eggs.
He has a tendency to bring in acts that are of dubious talent.
I'm sure they are very talented. They are just talented in the fact that the center of gravity is not in the best of places.
Holly
That's
like
the best.
frowns like she has no idea what you're on about.
Abrashmina will gesture.
Oh, yeah. She'll like giggle softly then. She's never been a subtle person, Holly. Ah, I see what you mean.
I mean, yeah. They're easy on the eyes, but not so much on the ears.
I'm sure we can come to an understanding.
All right. Well, maybe another week or so here. Just see how things go.
This place has been good for us. It's quiet. Uvir and Thelha are very friendly. It's good food. It's been nice. Really nice.
It's really quiet over at the Mirage. Apart from the wyverns, the bad musical acts, the occasional wrestling match.
The spider that eats rats.
The what?
The spider that eats rats. Pest control.
Spider? Like...
He's fine. His name is Seamus. He's very nice. He's
We do have
actually...
a unicorn.
Exactly, we have a Seamus. And the unicorn's name is Merlin.
Shat rubs her temples. Oh, okay. Well, I'm sure I can come by and see what the hell is going on.
Just don't visit my room. It's completely clean and not a mess at all.
Uh-huh. Like your tent always was.
I mean, I knew
How
where
do you
everything
have a
was.
messy tent?
Listen, it wasn't messy. I knew where everything was, okay? There was just a lot of stuff.
She treated her tent like it was a backpack. I.e., she would just roll up everything in there and carry it around.
It was so convenient.
I've missed you, Bryn. She just grins.
Missed you too.
Well, when can we come round? I suppose a visit wouldn't hurt. Before.
No. Yeah, I think we have some more errands, but maybe this evening.
Yeah. That sounds
I
good.
mean, I could probably whip something up food-wise. I mean, there's a pretty good chance it probably won't kill you.
Why don't we treat tonight like my audition? I'll do the
I mean,
cooking.
Makud did say that he wanted to test out some cooking.
Excellent.
All right, well, then it's evening then.
She gives you a nod and helps herself to another rasher of bacon. It's like proper thick cut bacon.
There'll probably be Madar and Makud and Declan, his sister, Abershmina, myself. So, just so you know.
Nice big group.
Anybody else, Abershmina?
What?
Will we be inviting anyone else to dinner this evening? You didn't think you were gonna get that one by me, did you?
I don't know what you mean.
All right then.
Says awkwardly.
Holly has a big grin on her face and just says, I'll make an extra portion. Just in case.
Probably wouldn't hurt.
Do not know if they would. If. Never mind.
And so you guys can enjoy a little bit more small talk and reminiscing about the good old days before you head back and meet up with the others. Before we do that, though, Declan and Makud seen one of the doors up top open and Alluri sweeps out, kind of gliding down the stairs.
While we're waiting for her, could I
Sure.
bring something up?
Of course.
So while Declan and Makud are sitting, Declan's got his sketchbook out, and he's gonna kind of conspicuously, while I assume Makud is eating and talking like he usually does, he's gonna start drawing a wyvern.
All right.
And so you just see if it gets a response from Makud. It's a pretty good likeness.
So you wouldn't get one immediately because he's eating and drinking and such. And then I imagine you're near finished or something, and goes. He kind of without even looking over that way, he's just I think you have the wing tips wrong. They bend back.
Very good observation. I'll erase and make corrections. Makud, I was thinking of writing a book of the Ashari alphabet, and I was wondering if you might help me with some of the pictures. You've seen much more of Ashar than I have, and perhaps you might also like to learn some of the letters when I write them.
He kind of stops eating in a moment, and there's a tenseness almost when you bring up the letters and things. I've seen a lot of Ashar, that is right. And you are not too bad at the pictures. And he like gestures kind of heavily towards what's the for the letters. They're not really a Minotaur thing. Amadu do not have need of them. He's kind of like all dismissive, but maybe you're very insightful. Maybe you like see past the boast or something. It's like you could do a book, you could make it, but did you know the last time I went to the library, they had not read what I wanted them to read?
And what was that?
He like tries to cast his mind back. I went with Mina. About gods or something. I forget, but they didn't know it. The library had not read its own books.
Well, if you were a little more familiar with your letters, perhaps you could find it yourself. If you'd like, I could. I was hoping to propose a trade. If you would help me catalog different animals and species of Ashar, help me draw them, then I could. For question for Rob, I guess, is Ashari like a phonetic language or like a pictograph kind of language?
No, it's definitely got letters, but it's definitely like Arabic, where it's really difficult and very alien and completely different to the rest of Lamentin letters.
Well, whatever. Basically, what I'm trying to do is give Makud a fun way to like help me write an A3Z picture book.
Yeah.
To like get him engaged with the written word in a way that would be fun for him.
Yeah, you could definitely do that.
Yeah. So, for example, Makud, this is a wyvern, and I'll put out the Ashari symbol for W, or whatever the sound is in Ashar. And this picture is what makes the sound.
And he looks down, and as some time goes by, and he's like, this, and he like traces like the W thing. That means wyvern.
It is the first sound, and I'll do a quick sketch of Makud, and I'll put the first letter of his name. This letter is just and if I write these letters, it is Makud. You see? I only think this would be useful to a great man such as yourself because, in my experience, knowledge is a different kind of power. The strength of your arm has never failed you, but there may come a challenge which it cannot solve, which only knowledge can. This would be one more great weapon in your arsenal.
There's kind of like a wrinkling of his nose. I think, like when you said man, specifically, like he remembers fighting the preacher and him calling himself a man and him calling Makud a beast, and Makud like taking pride in like overpowering him as a beast. But like that passes. It's so strange that that people, you're not from here, and here they put power in letters, and you say over the water they put power in letters as well.
It's a different kind of power, but yes.
He kind of like is trying to scrutinize scribbles that you put on this page.
What other animals do you love?
He kind of like leans back and stretches out. Like, there are many in this world, and the Madhu teach that each has its value, and it's not something that humans tend to see. They overlook or they take advantage of. But
That is an unfortunate truth of our condition.
he like opens up one large hand for the book.
Mm-hmm. I'll give it to you.
He like holds it gingerly, and kind of like flicks through a few pages. I'm not sure what is on those pages, just more inscrutable scribbles probably.
So he's got a couple books. This is his sketchbook, so it's going to be like a lot of like
Okay.
crime scene illustrations and like sketches, like things like that.
Like things of plants or something, or
Yeah.
bits and pieces or something.
But
like
also,
that.
like you'll probably find like a drawing of the sandworm and that we sort
Mhm.
of first saw in the Vakar. Probably some of the minotaurs the longhorns that we encountered, things like that.
Do you think if we give value to these creatures, if we make these words, these letters for them, that more people will understand?
I think so. Yes.
And you will take this home? You will show the lamenters?
I will. It is one of my great aspirations to tell stories of this place and of you. I flip back to the sketch of Makud,
Mm-hmm.
and many people will know the name, and I'll kind of run my finger under the word Makud, and they will know it because I have written it here.
He puts the book down, still on the Makud page. We still have stories to tell. We have a part to play. I've seen that we have not reached the heights that I want to reach. There will be dragons. And he I think clenches his fist, and they will be fighting. I want people to know of that. And he uses the fist that was clenched, like opens it and closes the book down, kind of like a little heavily, and goes, "You and Bryn and Mina, you talk a lot about slaves and a lot about the bad things. I want people to see the good. Ashar is not just the slavery. It is not just misery. People live here. People laugh. People enjoy their passions and their pleasure, and there is the endless sand and the mountains as tall as the sky, and there are the great worms, and there is love. There is family. There is so much more to it than just. And he kind of like doesn't finish his sentence, and he kind of just like knocks the book a little way, not like off the table, but just like pushes it back towards you.
Would you help me show people?
They shall see. And I think you see like where his hand is like resting on the bar. There. I imagine there is sand like everywhere, but there is like the little dust, sand kind of eddies, and it's starting to like. It's a bit like the aurora borealis, like the
Yeah.
kind of waves, but it's like sand, just like shimmering, like above his hand because he's like getting passionate about it.
Like when you see dust caught in like the light from the window or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
but
You see, like,
more clear. Yeah. And so as your conversation, oh yeah, do you want to add something?
sorry, no, that's okay.
As your conversation is kind of closing out, you see Alluri, kind of like coming down the stairs. She looks well rested. She looks okay. She's wearing this like kind of thin, pale shawl around her shoulders, sort of drapes down to meld with the dress she's wearing. So it's kind of this long, kind of formless situation.
I'll sort of reach up and wave at her and sort of beckon for her to join us when she can.
She smiles and kind of like ducks her head a little bit and wanders down to you. Good morning, Declan McCood.
Good morning, Alluri. I wondered if you would join us for a few moments.
Oh, sure.
Well, not to take up too much of your time, but I was wondering if there was something you could help me with. You are a fairly talented sorceress, as I understand.
Well, more of a
that
wizard, but yes.
The specifics of your profession, I'm afraid I'm unfamiliar with, which is part of why I'm inquiring with you. I've developed an interest, an academic sort, with magical crafting. I have some theories about the physical nature of magic, and I was wondering if perhaps you would be willing to assist me in exploring some of these theories.
Yes, I think so. It sounds interesting. Your perspective
Yes.
would be one I have not encountered before with regard to magic, so yes, I think so.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Declan starts to get pretty excited. Yes, of course. Well, he kind of pulls his notebook out, and these are the results of my experimentation with Eli's blood. And you can see here from the sketches I've done that there is a sort of negative space that can be seen even without the use of magic, just by the way it affects the various cells and different parts of Eli's physiology. I believe that I can distill this essence down to something that I could work with without the need of spellcraft. However, I think what I would require to do this would be tools capable of manipulating the substance. To that effect, I wondered if you would be willing to enchant some of my tools for me. I could compensate you, of course. I understand these things usually take time and some resources.
Well, minor enchantments like that do take time, and I think you might be better speaking to Thelha at the Shalfadi about that sort of thing.
Of course, yes.
I'm very interested in working with you on the theory and the crafting, but to enchant mundane tools is, well, I'm sorry to say I do have many important things to do, and I just don't have the time to complete a task such as that.
Of course. Thela?
Yes.
And where is Thela again?
She's Abba's wife at the Shalfadi, where
Where you
Avrishmina
got
and
your
Bryn
magic
just are.
items.
Right. Okay. Yes, of course. Uh, would you care to look over some of my notes? I could copy them for you, and I'd be interested to hear any insights that you might have.
I would like that very much.
Excellent. I must say, I'm rather excited to have a collaborator. It's been a long time since school, and I haven't had much in the way of academic conversation.
I think it will be fun.
I think so as well. Very well. Kind of claps his hands and stands and says, I will have those brought to you as soon as they are ready.
Wonderful. Thank you, Declan.
And thank you.
She gives Makood like a little pat on the shoulder. I'll see you later, Makood, okay?
McCord is like shoves the rest of his second breakfast basically down really quickly, and he looks at her for a moment. He's like, I don't think I have anything for you to enchant.
That's quite alright. I just, it's nice to see you. That's all.
He has like a small smile.
If all
Nice
goes
to see
well,
you too.
if all goes well, Makood, I was hoping to make something for you, actually.
Okay. You think I need more than this? And like he like taps the top of the hammer that is, taller than the bar when it's like sitting down on the floor or something.
Makood, I think you could conquer an army with just your arm, but I would like to keep you alive as long as possible.
He kind of shrugs. Okay, whatever you come up with. I can see if it does just that. And he like slaps himself on the chest. And then he like starts to move away and turns back to Willow. He's like, I will see you later too.
She gives you both a small wave goodbye and then goes in to see Sharat.
Well, I guess if they're at the Shalfadi already, I'll just go over there.
Okay. So I'll say a little while later, Avrishmina and Bryn, you guys hear the sort of little jangly bell, and Declan walks in. Is Makood coming, or is he doing his own thing?
Oh, he's coming.
Cool. You see the other two come in then.
Hello.
See, Abba is now awake and sort of like pottering about, kind of getting stuff ready for the lunchtime rush that's going to come in a few hours, and Dalha is nowhere to be seen as of yet, but probably around.
Good morning. Again.
Yes, good morning again. Abba, is your wife about?
Oh, yes, she's here somewhere. I'll go find her for you. And he sort of like goes back into their sort of like conjoined house. And then maybe like 10-15 seconds later, Thal comes out, followed by Abba, and she's like drying off her hands. Good morning, all. What can I do for you?
Declan's gonna kind of very quickly approach her, and like interject himself between her and anybody else to get her full attention. Yes, Stella, good morning. I was wondering if I could procure your services as an enchanter.
Oh, yes, of course.
Come with me, and I'll kind of bring over my tools and lay them out on the bar. They're a set of alchemical tools and a set of tinker tools.
Yep.
And I'll just kind of go over the different instruments. My goal is to be able to use these tools in the process of enchantment. I was wondering if perhaps you could give them just a base level magical enchantment that would allow them to manipulate magical material. For example, I have this, and I'll pull out the ore that I got, the green ore. I I have been unable to work it with mundane materials, so I was hoping that perhaps with some magical adjustment, these tools would be able to work with such a material.
Yes, I think I can do something like this for you.
Ah, wonderful. Thank you so much. Of course, whatever you require in terms of payment, I'd be happy to provide.
Well, for this, I think each set will take a week, and will be maybe 100 gold pieces.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Of course.
Declan is just sort of abuzz with nerdy energy.
Yeah.
What exactly are you making again?
Is that Brashmina asking?
Sure. I was asking
Um,
for my notes, but yeah. Abrashmina will ask curiously.
Well, I'm having these enchanted so that I can potentially, hopefully, begin to craft magical items for myself, for us. I've seen in the past certain warriors or others who do not wear typical forms of armor enchant braces or similar accoutrement to provide defensive protection. I thought I would start with something like that for Makud.
That is very interesting.
But I also have a long list of items I plan on creating. There's piles of sketches in my lab. I could show you if you're interested.
Sure. That
Well,
sounds like it would be fascinating.
absolutely, yes, of course. I'd be happy to show you. Perhaps this evening sometime.
Abrashmina nods.
Well,
Is this similar to your curiosity with Eli's blood?
yes, it
Your
is.
curiosity with the arcane.
It is, exactly, yes. My hope is to be able to physically distill the essence of magic in some way. I imagine that if such a thing could be done, it would be a substance of limitless uses. And Eli, for all his eccentricities, is he's chock full of magic, it would seem.
Yes.
And perhaps other things.
Yes. She says awkwardly. Realizing perhaps her folly in bringing up Eli. But a bit belatedly.
Letting her off the hook, I'll turn back to Thelas, and I'll say, so I'll leave these here with you, and be back for them in 2 weeks' time.
All right. Yes, that's fine. I'll get to work. And she you can see she's like starting to calculate in her head and like measuring the tools and that sort of thing. She sort of like wanders off in her own little world.
So, to the Bell Witch's Tower.
Yes, and then I hope you don't mind. I've asked my mother and Holly over. Holly's graciously offered to cook us a meal this evening.
I should be most grateful for some Lamenta food.
I thought you might.
And so the four of you head over to the Bell Witch's temple. Still as run down as ever, but you ascend the treacherous staircase and find yourselves in the top of the tower, staring at the basin. Nothing happens.
For a tiny moment.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
We taking a break?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I will go feed my dog. Anybody there?
Yes.
I am gonna hang up real quick because I have to make a phone call. But I'll be back once I'm off the phone.
Okay.
Okay.
You okay?
Yeah, good, thanks. How are you doing?
A smidge out of sorts. I don't appear. I'm a little hot, a little tired, and I'm not note taking quite as efficiently in a very talky session as I'd like to be. So I know.
Yeah, I think. I've had a rough day, so I think we're probably just gonna do this Bell Witch encounter and then call it a day. To be honest.
Fair enough.
Yeah, sorry, I'm back.
It's all good.
Declan is just away taking a phone call or some such, and we'll.
Dylan,
Sorry.
I do that all the time. Yeah.
Either way.
Yeah, I was just saying. I think we'll do this encounter and then that's probably it for this session. I'm definitely in need of a long night's sleep.
I had like Makud slightly kind of taken aback. Not many people, I don't think, tell Makud just like it was nice to see him. So like just that little, like lots of people say, you know, he's like fantastic and you know saves their lives and all the rest of it, and he can deal with that. But like she was just like, it's nice to see you. And see you again later, and it was like, what?
Yeah.
So just that small like level of appreciation. He was like, oh, okay. It's like that's why I was like, I don't have anything for you, to do.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Right. I've managed to backtrack and spell check everything that's been done, and now I feel much better.
Nice.
I'm going to go take my break now. Bye.
Yeah.
I'm back.
Welcome back.
Woo.
So the Welcome Back Cotter theme song?
Yep.
That's a deep cut.
Yep.
Oh my god, Mr. Cotter!
Looking forward to Holly's dinner.
Could be fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
It's hella good. So, yeah, I think, Dylan, you're the only one who's away. Prob's just going to do this next scene and then call it a day. I know it's not a very long session.
That's fine.
But
You sound pretty tired.
Yeah, I'm in need of slumber.
Okay.
But yeah, I think everyone's back.
Mhm.
So the four of you, as I said, climb the steps and find yourself staring at the basin, and you see slowly the shimmering swirls of light as the Bell Witch begins to form in front of you again, like long flowing dress made of this white kind of ghostly light, and these kind of pieces of errant fabric that hang down over her face so that you can kind of see her features, but they're obscured to where you can't make out detail, but you can just tell vague shapes, and you can see the sort of black dark areas where her eyes are gazing out at you, and she sort of holds herself in this very strange, like, clenched up angle, moving kind of slowly, as though being brushed around by the wind. And there's just this moment of silence as she regards you all, waiting to see why you have disturbed her again.
Greetings. I suppose we have news for you.
You have not completed the task.
No, but we have begun our efforts in. We know where we may find this monk of the waste. It will be a long journey to reach him.
There were 50 desecrations. This one is taking a long time to fix.
I am afraid that traveling through the desert is not an easy task, but it is one that we plan on overcoming soon. But you will perhaps be gratified to know that we have defeated one of our enemies who was empower. That is a word I cannot say with this accent. Empower. I can't say it with my regular voice.
Empowdered.
That was that had allied itself with a demon and broken this man's hold over four score lost souls that now need to find a place to heal and perhaps find purpose. We thought perhaps restoring your temple might be a task for them as they heal from the ordeals.
You wish to have my temple restored? which kind of straightens up.
That was one of your ultimate goals, was it not?
Yes. This is
These
good.
are these are people that have lost their way. They have been lied to and manipulated by a man that had been manipulated by uh, a demon disguising itself as a god.
It's a being who called itself the Lashed.
Abrashmina nods.
They may come to restore my temple, but they are not permitted in the tower. They must stay below.
May I ask why?
My temple was desecrated. The one place that remains sanctified is this very room. I do not wish for further desecration. They will stay below.
There may be some who seek redemption. Could they not be initiated under your guidance?
I am a ghost, Declan Core. The temple must be rebuilt in more ways than one. That is why I have bid you seek the Monk of the Wastes. And
Because he
yet,
was one of your listeners.
she cocks her head and leans in close. How do you know this?
From the books at your local library.
I read it in a book.
A book?
In
That
the
is
library of a
strange.
shop. Why is that strange?
I had thought our faith forgotten. I would like to see this book.
I can go get it for you.
Yes.
Is the tower really far away from the library?
Not super far, but yeah, pretty far.
Okay. So it's not a, oh, hold on, you guys, you talk to her. I'll be right back.
No.
5 minutes. Bye. Okay.
Yeah, it'd be like something you'd have to plan your route around.
Yes, the book mentioned your harbinger, the Shriven and the listeners, and gave a name for your monk, Aranthus.
Yes. That was his name.
And the Kalasa of the desert, the Mardu, they have said that they will try to pass along word to him. If we fail to find him, they will attempt, along with the Medellin.
That will fail.
Well, as I said, they were to attempt.
asked you to bring him here. I did
We do not have a
ask
way
you.
of doing it quickly.
Just make sure it is done.
We will try our best. But it will be months yet before we can be there and return.
Very well. So be it. You see the bell witch
Nothing.
slowly begins to fade, and then just as she is about to disappear altogether, she says, "Remember, they will remain below. They will not enter my tower." And then she's
There
gone.
is another Skywalker.
Drums in the deep. And then she's gone.
Take our leave. She did not seem as happy about that as I thought she was going to be.
Does anyone else feel very strange breaking wind in here? Feels rude. Sorry.
What? What?
Just kidding.
McCood kind of like understood. He didn't
Wait.
argue when she talked about them not coming to the sacred places. I guess he kind of understood that. And he'll nod when you say she wasn't very happy.
Yeah, Abrashmina is frowning a little bit.
No, he understands. When we get to the bottom of the stairs, he's going to do as she asks, and he's going to find the largest piece of masonry he can find from this crumbling temple, and he's just going to like wedge it into the tower entrance, so no
Nice.
one, apart from someone basically as strong as him, could get in there. And the next time he can, obviously lift that stone out again.
Yeah.
Like when Mina goes to the library, but he's respecting our wishes.
Totally. Awesome. And yeah, I think on that note, we'll call an end to the session for now.